And welcome to What's Up with This Weather. This is the 25th of March, the year 2026, and it's a hot one already outside.
Yes.
Very hot.
Summer-like for spring.
Very. We broke records again last Friday and last Saturday. We were in the middle 90s. There were triple digits across the state.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely incredible. And we're going to be, I think we're going to break a record today. I think we have plenty of leeway, unfortunately or fortunately, whichever you like.
I don't think it's a good record to break.
It's not great this early. We need some rain because this cannot continue into summer. Otherwise, it's going to be a bad deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. Let's take a look at the record highs. They're returning again. I say returning because, again, we had plenty of them over the weekend. So I'm forecasting 91 for today. The current standing record's 88. That was set back in 1976. And tomorrow's high temperature is about the same as today, 91 again. The record is not from that long ago, 2020, and it's 92 degrees at Will Rogers Airport. Quick kind of preview here as we look toward April. No fooling. April 1st through the 7th. Above average temperatures centered over the southeast this time, not so much the desert southwest. Interesting.
Yeah.
And as far as precip, this is the map that we like. April 1st through 7th, trending above average. It doesn't mean we're going to get rain every day. It does not mean that, but it means the chances are leaning toward us getting more rain than not, or more rainy days than not. So that is really what we want to see. So we were talking about last weekend, and it got kind of dicey as the first couple days of the incredibly hot temperatures didn't have wind. It was Friday and Saturday. Now Sunday did, because a cold front came through, and the same thing's going to happen on Friday.
Okay.
So we'll kind of go back and talk about what we saw. And the first one came into us from a viewer. It's a drone clip of the fires in Camargo, which is in Dewey County, northwest Dewey County in northwestern Oklahoma. This is stunning video. I mean, you look at that and you see the flames in those cedars, and boy, they've got to be about 70, 80, 90 feet at sometimes. You'll see when they go up. I mean, it's simply incredible.
To get, for viewers to understand the size, look how small the little white truck is in the far left of the shot.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you a feeling of how massive this fire is. It is not a tiny little grass fire. This is a big grass fire.
That was an excellent point. Look at that right there. Look at that. That's got to be over 100 feet.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. Yeah. And yeah, you can see those are in most of these small towns, they're volunteer firefighters, by the way.
Yes, they really are.
So our hats off to them as they were, trying to stage at this point. This was fairly early on in the wildfire situation in that county on Sunday, so just a few days ago. And I mean, you could see right when the drone turned right there, the huge line of fire moves across the grass, driven by the wind, attacks cedars. They go up, they shoot embers into the air, and it's just an unfortunate chain reaction of things that happen. So, I mean, those are huge flames out there, for sure.
And very dangerous, and they can go in just an instant, just out of control.
Let's look at some more video, because that was not the only fire. We have another one from Camargo, though. This is from Eric Dixon, and this is a little bit later in the event. You can see the sun is bright out there. The sun's a little bit lower. Also, there's smoke everywhere. So you can see there's some burned trees right there, and some that don't yet have leaves on them. It's still very dry. And Eric was telling us on the air that it was problematic getting into some of these valleys because it's a little bit more up and down out there.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can see right there the flame going up, and then it's down in a valley. So the trucks were having, the brush pumpers and all that were having a really tough time getting down in there. That's why he zoomed in. It's probably a cedar that went up real quick. You can see some of the flashing lights right there. They're trying to get at it. It's just really rough terrain.
And those cedars go up instantly. I know state lawmakers have talked about implementing ways to eradicate them or reduce their population because of what they do to these wildfires.
Yeah, and in addition to that, they just suck up water. It's interesting. They take in so much water, yet they're so combustible. I mean, they really are. It's a nuisance in Oklahoma. We know that if you've lived here for a while. Let's go to our next clip here. This is, so I mentioned it's in the valley. They called in some heavy-duty air support right here. So this was one of many planes that was dropping, the red is the fire retardant over the area. These are amazing pilots because they're loaded down and they're flying and kind of swooping in. The winds are high. We know that because there's fires, high fire day. And as they swoop down, when you start dropping that in just a matter of seconds, it greatly alters not only the center of gravity, but the weight of the aircraft. So they know it's going to go up, and they're trying to counteract that and keep level flight. So it's really, they're amazing pilots. They really are. And I watched on Flight Tracker that particular flight right there circled about 10 times before it made its drop. So what they're doing is they're kind of planning, they're looking where they're going to drop it. They're talking with people on the ground. They're lining up to do it, and then they do a couple test flights to make sure there's not any insane wind shear or anything. So you see how low they are. So they need to make sure it's safe before they actually change the weight of the aircraft. Mm-hmm. So that's why if you're ever in a situation where you see them near a wildfire, they circle. You're like, well, when are they going to help? Oh, they're making sure it's safe first.
Yes.
That's what they're doing. A couple test runs. They're making sure the weight's right. The winds are acceptable. Then they'll go in and do it. It's not just show up, do it, leave, show up, do it. They need to plan this. So that's what you're seeing right there. We'll go to Dibble, which is southwest of Oklahoma City. This was another one on Sunday. Storm Tracker Philip McGee was down there. And this was obviously a smaller plane, but you notice the floats on the bottom. That's one that will land on the water. It'll suck water into it and then go back and do it again. So obviously you need a nearby source of water. These pilots are incredible too, because landing on water isn't easy. Landing on choppy water because it's windy is obviously very, very hard. And they're just so incredible at what they do. I mean, really, it's incredible stuff. We'll go ahead and look at some pictures here. This is how the week went. So March 16th, this would be last week, but Monday, the wind chill was 6. And by the Friday, I mean, just look at that picture.
Was it really? I was here for it, but it's shocking to see on a graphic that it was really feeling like that on March 16th.
I mean, and that wasn't that long ago. It's the 25th right now. Amazing. Yeah. And that 95 high temperature, that was a record right there on last Friday. So
that's toasty.
That's pretty incredible. 3 days of records that started. The next image we have here, that was here's all of them. So Friday, 94, broke the record at 92. The record on Saturday shocked me that it was 95. And we talked about this before, that air conditioning was not around.
They did not have air conditioning back then.
No. So 1907 or 1916, we were 96. And Sunday, which was when all the fires were, it was 88, which is still incredibly hot, but it's because we were behind the front and that northerly wind came in. That is why we had all the fires across the area. So it's shaping up to be, we're already the number 5 position for warmest March on record. We're going to be close to number 1 by the time today is done, tomorrow is done, and we warm up even again for parts of the weekend. So that's really incredible stuff. Let's look at the Camargo fire graphic here. And this is what was put out by the National Weather Service. They issued these about every hour. So you can see right there, Camargo, the fire was off to the north of it. Obviously moving south with the northerly winds. South at 2 to 3 miles per hour. At one time, it was 3 to 5 mile per hour, which you're saying, well, that doesn't sound like a lot. For a fire, it is. That's the front line of the fire, but embers get carried out ahead of that. So that's why that orange graphic right there stretched all the way to Camargo. Now, what happened is the winds turned a little bit more northeasterly, just a little easterly component, and it ended up blowing the worst of the fire just west of Camargo. And as the sun went down, humidity recovered, so that actually helped stabilize things, but it was very close. I want to show you what was put out and just kind of read this together. This is what an evacuation order looks like when it comes into us, and we disseminate that and put it out. 245, large destructive wildfire out of control near Camargo, spreading rapidly south. They can damage or destroy structures. We know that. Harm or kill people and animals. For your safety, evacuate immediately for Camargo. Then it gives specific areas to evacuate. So East 680 Road and EW 69, leave this area now. This is the part that I think is, striking. Do not delay to pack belongings.
Right.
I mean, and then they put a reunification center up in Visay, which was actually north of the fire, so it was in the safe area. But I was actually kind of reading that with my wife, and I said, I mean, that just puts it into perspective. Do not delay to pack belongings, because you might be like, oh, I'll grab my computer, I'll grab photos, I'll grab all this stuff. And then 10 minutes later, you're still thinking of things to grab.
Oh, of course.
And then
because the list goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the flames are looking at your door. So
Exactly.
I think that's pretty amazing to read that in a text statement. So yeah, it's been it was quite the weekend, and we hope that does not happen again tomorrow. Now winds will be south tomorrow, so any fires that get started will move north, and then by Friday morning the winds will be from the north to the south. So any fires that either get started or were not put out before will move the opposite direction. So that's going to be something to contend with as well. There's a lot of prescribed burns that happen for a while, and we hope that anyone that might have tried to do one, make sure it's completely out. Like now is the time.
Yes.
Now is the time because we have this on the way. All right, we'll go for a quick break here. We've got some tornado. I don't know if I want to say trivia, but some numbers that are
tornado season, Aaron.
Tornado season started January 8th this year. It
goes on a long time here.
It was crazy. Started 8 days into the new year. Got some pretty incredible tornado numbers that we'll talk about. And you know what? Why not? We'll show the 7-day forecast after the break.
Let's do it.
And welcome back to What's Up with This Weather. And it's been all fire talk.
All fires.
All fires all the time, unfortunately, for these windy events that we've had. I think it needs to stop.
So, question. You don't know I'm bringing you this question, but is this common for Oklahoma? I feel like we're seeing more and more over the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, last year was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely horrible. And it was March.
Yeah.
This is a big time for that because obviously we can get dry in late July and August, but it seems like we still get a storm here or there, okay? And we don't have as much wind in the summer. We're in a transitional season right now, going from, I'm going to say fake winter to spring, which isn't really spring. It's like summer.
Almost summer.
Yeah. So let's talk in a typical year. This is a transitional time between when it's cold and then when the jet stream starts moving south, you get more wind. We're kind of flip-flopping, cold days, warm days, all that stuff. And you're coming off of a dry season, which is winter. Yes, sometimes we get snow. We had one event this year that was large, but melted snow doesn't account for much groundwater. And we don't get much rain. So, yeah, I mean, that's a very excellent question because we're coming off of a dry season, going to a transitional season where you add in more wind. And when you've already been dry, it's hard to break that pattern of dry or drought. So you get fires. It's unfortunately the season that we're in. But yes, it's been really bad last year and of course this year too. Mm-hmm. So with the drought, I'm hoping we do something quick here to turn the corner because weather patterns like to keep going. When we had a wet summer last summer, it would rain and then it would be humid, which would cause again another storm in a couple days. The cycle would repeat. When it's dry, it takes a lot to break that. Because you can't get a storm if you don't have humidity at the ground level. You got to get it in some way. So the cycle will continue. We're not loving the tornado numbers either so far this year. Let's take a look at the tornado count. There were tornadoes as early as, again, January 8th. That was an early morning event. That was in the South Metro and the East Metro. The tornado count for March, or the total tornado count, rather, is 25. That's incredible.
Yes.
The state annual average is just shy of 60. We're already almost halfway there.
I was about to say almost halfway. It doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel like a good stat to be at.
It's not at all. January we had 5, tied the month record, none in February. March we had 20. That's a new month record. The previous record was 17.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think we're going to have any tornadoes the rest of this month, but that was early on. I mean, it left room for more. We're not going to have more in this month, but wow.
April is coming.
April is coming. And unfortunately, the injury and fatality count is, you don't want one of either category. But 4 fatalities, the most ever recorded in March. So it's been a season already. I mean,
it has
really.
been. Between the fires, the wind, the drought, tornadoes, it's been a doozy just for March.
Yeah. So 20 tornadoes in March. Absolutely horrible. We'll go ahead and take a look at what we have coming up weather-wise, because I'm not all doom and gloom. I do have a little bit of good news, and it is in that 7-day forecast. It's a pattern change. So here's this afternoon, 91 in Oklahoma City. We're probably going to break the record. 88 was the record back in 1976 and 1908. So we're probably going to break that by several degrees for today. Breezy, but not windy. Elevated fire concern, but it gets a lot more of a problem as we head into tomorrow. Here's tonight's low temperature, 64. Imagine this. Our average highs are in the middle 60s this time of the year. So the low is going to be about the average high. We're just all sorts of flip-flopped here. The winds will not go away, so that's why the temperatures will not fall down that much. The record is 67 for coolest, or warmest rather, low temperature. It's always a hard one. Warm, low kind of seems hard to say.
Confusing.
Yeah, 91 for tomorrow, but the heat dome is going to be right over the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles. It'll be closer, so Woodward is going to be 100. Places like Arnett, Sealing, Buffalo, Laverne, 100 degrees tomorrow, and very windy, so we're going to be close to the record tomorrow, but not necessarily a slam dunk in breaking it. All right, so here we go, 91 today and tomorrow. A drop of 30 degrees from Thursday to Friday. Wow. 67 light winds on Saturday. I'm loving that. That's the day. That's the day right there. Sunday, 82 degrees, 88 on Monday. So warming up again with more wind. Here is my good news. I've not been filled with good news so far.
I'm holding on to Wednesday.
Hold on to Wednesday. Yes, a week from today, I hope we're talking to you on the show next Wednesday, and we can look out and it's raining outside. Hopefully, we kind of enter into a new pattern. At least the models are predicting this, and we're looking at different flow. It does look like the pattern will change. In this change, we hope for a lot of good rain to help the drought. That is going to be something that'll be on our radar. But for now, we're going to bid you goodbye. Thank you for joining us on this week's edition of What's Up With This Weather. We'll see you live next Wednesday at 1:30 or on KFOR.com.